I know you've given your prediction on your AMA, but just for like my audience, how far do you think the fight goes? What do you think is the actual outcome? Because you think he
It's
has like some sort of a fighting chance. He's not going to get completely decimated, I'm assuming. Do you think that the what he's fighting in right now, essentially he's been unchecked as far as testing parameters? Like this is the most strict it's been, and it's literally like testing you on fight day essentially at best. Do you think that that plays a role in why he does these fights? The fact that he basically can get away with doing whatever he wants? Do you think that if he was under the scrutiny of more like USADA level testing, do you think he would still be trying to go after these big fighters? Or what do you think? Because you think it has a pretty
no,
big role on his progression, right?
you know what? He's a real fighter. You know why? He's getting in there with Woodley.
Yeah.
Like this is not a joke. Like he's not taking easy fights. He's not like taking a guy who's a YouTuber. He's taking a real fighter on.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys, when you have that kind of warrior spirit, that kind of fight mentality, I don't think he's doing that for the drug test. I don't think he's thinking to himself, "Oh, I can get." I don't think that's in his mind. I think he really wants to fight. Fighting is very addictive. Okay, so I mean, like anybody who's ever fought and won, it's extremely addictive. It's magnetic. You want to do more of it. And look, he's got the guts to call out the big names. You know, he's doing it. So the fact that he's stepping in with Tyrone, I think he has that. He has my respect. You know, he's a fighter. He's a real fighter. He's not. So this is the real deal, man. Sunday, he's stepping in there. He signed the contract, so
Yeah.
it's a real deal.
What do you think the like I know you've given your prediction on your AMA, but just for like my audience, how far do you think the fight goes? What do you think is the actual outcome? Because you think he
It's
has like some sort of a fighting chance. He's not going to get completely decimated, I'm assuming.
no, I think because I think he's very strong. He's a very strong guy, and
Mm-hmm.
he's never been hurt, so he doesn't know. He doesn't know what it is to get hit. So you have that confidence in you that it can help you, but it can also get you in trouble. I think it's going to be a competitive fight
Okay. Yeah.
because Tyrone is a great striker, but he's not just a boxer. He was great with kicks, knees, elbows. Like he had a great Muay Thai. He trained with Duke Rufus, so he's not a boxing is not his. He's definitely good hands. He's got great hands, but he's more of a Muay Thai guy going into a boxing fight, a wrestler, Muay Thai guy going into a boxing fight. And Jake just does boxing, so I think there's that advantage for Paul because Paul is used to crouching, slipping. Whereas in Muay Thai, if you do that, you get kicked in the neck, you get kneed, you get elbowed. So there's not as much bending at the waist for Woodley. There are small advantages for Paul, but ultimately Woodley has the greater advantage. Why? He's been fighting at elite levels for a long time. I just think it's going to be competitive because Paul is a very good athlete. He's filled out really. He's very strong, very explosive. He showed a lot of power against Ben Askren. So I think it's going to make it for an intriguing fight. However, these guys can knock each other out at any moment. They both hit
Yeah.
really, really hard.
Hmm.
They
One
both
thing,
hit really, really hard.
true. Yeah. I think it'll be closer than people think, perhaps, with Jake Paul. I think a lot
It
of
can
people
end with one punch also. It can
yeah.
also end with one punch. They
Yeah.
both got that power. So
A lot of people are going to want me to ask this is what percentage of UFC fighters do you think are on PEDs now post USADA versus pre USADA? If you had to speculate.
you know what? I asked that same question to Vada once upon a time, and they told me 70% of the roster. This is before USADA. They said like 70% of the roster we estimate is on gear.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's probably 60% now.
You think
Like
it's only dropped by 10%?
yeah, I think guys found new ways to get around it. I think they found new and innovative ways.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys play the odds. I would think because they test for 300 different banned substances. You never know what they're going to test, and guys are still getting caught. So if they're still getting caught, it's because they're still doing things. And I feel like there's a lot more to it. Sometimes you get results that are very questionable, but they don't know what to do with it. I don't want to get too much into that. I don't want to get myself in trouble, but
Yeah.
there has been some questionable things going on. But I think there's a lot of there's a lot of money on the table. There's a lot of, like, for instance, when I'll give you one that's really well known is Anderson Silva when he popped against the Diaz fight. He popped 9 days before the fight still happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
The guy, but he popped 9 days before.
Yeah.
So I mean,
So you mentioned earlier too how one of the main points you had before we started this whole thing was how you think Jake Paul, his whole, crusade against underpaying fighters is good for the sport. Like ultimately it might help people, bring more attention to this not often talked about issue potentially. Do you think it's going to eventually be able to swing in favor of MMA fighters getting paid more when he's like putting all this heat on Dana and stuff like that? Or do you think it's going to make a difference?
I mean, I'm not sure on his method of doing it, but the fact that he's getting Woodley in there is because he threw a lot of money at Woodley. Woodley would not entertain this fight
Yeah.
unless it was a major payday. I don't know what Woodley's getting paid, but I'm sure it's plenty because he would not have put his time and energy in this fight. I heard Ben Askren made $1 million on that fight. That's amazing.
Wow. That's crazy.
I mean, if that's true, if it's true, I don't know if it is, but if it's true, I'm really happy for him.
Yeah.
And that's a great payday. If Jake Paul is doing that for the sport, he's doing a great thing.
Yeah, I know Paulo Costa was one of the most like outspoken against being annoyed of lack of fighter pay. And I don't know what his like current deal is. Like I'm pretty sure he's going to be fighting Vittoria, I think, pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that's confirmed or not officially, but I don't know if he's getting paid more for that now or what happened that swung in favor of him actually like, agreeing to something. Do you have any predictions on that fight?
I think